Hello, this is Natalia. This is my final presentation on my Genius Hour project. What I chose to make. I just like to make a simple figure out of candle wax. Why I chose to do this, I had no idea what to make, and a lot of candle wax wasn't being used for anything. I also decided to do something that I was not familiar with and challenge myself. What was my goal? My goal was to make a simple figure out of wax. I did not have it did not have to be amazing or anything of that sort, but it did have to resemble something. Success, setbacks, and challenges. One of my major setbacks was finding the time for this. For example, for one figure, it would take about an hour to make, and cleaning the wax shavings and the wax on the tools it would take a few minutes, and it would be annoying. One of my challenges was trying to shape the figure at first. It would be confusing on how to initially start and what size it would be. I believe that my final project is a success. Personally, I don't believe it's good, but it does resemble something, so my goal was met. Also, I want to add a bit on this, but I'm going to go summarize it quickly because I do not want to make this video over 5 minutes. Um, One of my setbacks was basically, my setback was a challenge I gave myself in the beginning. I did not use any knowledge, outside knowledge. Uh, so I struggled a lot with what I said before, initially just how to start and basics and everything like that, and technique, and like what size to make. It would take me a lot of trial and error to finally figure it out, and I still struggled on my last figure that I made. Also, another setback was trying to cool down the wax, like trying to get it prepared for me to carve it. It would take about 3 to 4 hours, sometimes even 5 hours for the whole thing to cool down, because I would use a large, thick glass or a large glass container that was really thick to make sure it did not crack. Um, and I would pour the wax, so I'd melt it, then pour it in there. Yeah, it would take some time, and I could not put it in the fridge right away, so I had to wait a bit for it to cool down. Also, when the when the middle when the middle like when the middle cooled down and when it like solidified, it would cave in, and I would have to fill it up with more wax, and I would have to melt more wax and fill it up. And that's why, if you see my project, one side is a bit lighter color. It's more of orangish red than like as you would say, a burgundy, I think, or I don't know, darker red. But yeah, that's why it's two different colors. Um, Another setback was just carving the wax too thin because it would break off, and like you couldn't really put it back on. I mean, I did try heating up my tools and then like heating up the end of the wax and then trying to stick it back on. For example, I made this turtle, and the legs broke off, so I tried to basically not glue them back on, but I tried to melt them back on, and it worked. It was weak, and it could easily break off, but it was sticking together. Another problem was that it just looked horrible. You could definitely tell when the wax was melted, and you could definitely tell when the wax was melted, and like it also the wax was burning a bit, so it looked horrible. Um, there was another setback was basically I would make this large block, so just in case I messed up, I could make the figure smaller. But also sometimes I had to split the block in half, but it'd be hard because the wax I'm using, which is candle wax, like if you cut it too far deep, it will crack in an even way and pieces will break off, and that's not what I wanted. And you would basically have to cut very slow. I even tried heating up my tools to cut it in half, but that would not work. Um, I just want to mention that I don't have any pictures or anything of my progress, the projects, the figures I made. So I really have no way to show this on the slide or anything like that. It's just I didn't take pictures because I didn't think they were good enough to see, for others to see, and personally, I did not want to see them again. Um, yeah, so I was worried about my final project. There was a few things I wanted to touch up. Like I think the legs are a bit too big, and I could have slimmed them down a bit. But I was worried about, doing anything to it because I don't think I have time to make another one, and of course I don't have any time now. I made that one on Saturday, over the weekend, and I feel like I could have done a lot of touch-ups about it, but like I think it's fine. I mean, I don't think it's fine, but I think it's good enough. I think I don't think it's necessary to touch up, but I would like to fix it a bit. Uh, but yeah, I was going to, but I plan on bringing two projects. I mean, two figures, a bear and the rabbit. But the bear one failed, miserably, horribly. So yeah, so ended up scrapping that one, and I just ended up using the rabbit as the only one I'm gonna show. So basically, I don't want to do any touch-ups just in case I really mess up. Then uh, I just don't want my project to fail. Uh, in the sense of it not being good, and just ruining it more. Anyway, what I got out of this project. Well, I guess I learned that I'm bad at carving wax. Joking aside, I feel like I challenged myself to do something more creative than what I usually do. Even though it didn't work out the way I intended it to be, at least I've tried something new.